Hi everyone, it's great to see you. I am wedged here between our fence and the shed. There is just this small little area and it does get some sun, but not a ton of sun. However, I'm going to use what we have available to us. Some of you, whoops, there goes my pot, are going to recognize this green pot right away. This is a David Austin rose. Just saying David Austin rose probably makes a lot of you just sigh with happiness, because if you love roses, you have heard of David Austin roses before. And this is heavy, so I'm going to put it down. This particular David Austin rose is a Gertrude Jekyll. And a Gertrude Jekyll comes in two different formats. There is a shrub variety and there is a short climbing variety. This is the climber. The climber gets to be about 10 feet tall. So unlike your New Dawn, which is going to go 20 to 30 feet tall, this one keeps it a little bit more in control. I happen to love the Gertrude Jekyll rose. It is one of those roses that I consider to be a perfect pink color. You know I love pink, but this is just the perfect pink. It gets to be, it's considered a mid-size blooming rose, so probably about the size of your palm, and it just has a ton of petals in each flower. Now, Gertrude Jekyll happens to be pretty popular. And one of the reasons is not only is it beautiful, not only is it known for its beautiful rose fragrance like so many David Austin roses, it can do with partial sun. That is huge because we know that a lot of roses really like a lot of sun. So to find one that will bloom well when it's not getting full sun is huge. So right now I chose a time to plant when we're in the shade here. We're in the shade, but we do get enough sun here that I really feel like this will grow well. Now, with roses, of course, they don't have little tendrils to climb things. Your clematis, they'll wrap around things. Your climbing hydrangea have the air roots that grab onto things. But roses you have to tie up to some type of structure. So I will have to run some type of lattice up here and then through the roof when it gets, not through the roof, on the roof, when it gets tall enough so that I can tie those canes up on it. But I'm going to be planting this Gertrude Jekyll rose in this planter. And the more that I have been looking into roses, the more I recommend that you give this a try. So planters are wonderful. And for a rose, in order to find exactly the right spot, in order to get used to taking care of them, you have a lot of control over this planter. So I'm going to begin it at least in this planter. And you can keep roses going for years in planters, which is wonderful. If you're going to keep this planter out through the winter, you really need to make sure that your rose is 2 to 3 zones more cold hardy than the area you're living in. So I live in zone 6B, which is now zone 7A, and the Gertrude Jekyll rose is hardy down to zone 4. So I feel like, okay, that gives me that buffer that I need because it will have cold air around this pot throughout the winter, which is really important. And I also know that we are very sheltered in this area too, so I think it's going to be perfect. My planter is large. It has holes drilled in the bottom, and I already put some pot feet down here. You want to make sure that it's raised up a bit so that that drainage is not ever cut off completely, and you want to keep an eye on that too. Some people love to put extra things in their bottom of their pot. I highly recommend that you just use a potting mix all the way down to the bottom. Give it as much growing space as you possibly can. I tend to use Miracle-Gro potting mix, but any really is fine as long as you feel like it has worked for you in the past. That's a good thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill this with some soil. Okay, we've had a lot of rain, and I get my potting mix outside. You should not do that because my 2 top bags here are so saturated with water. They are so heavy. I am sure the rose is gonna love it, but my back does not. Okay, here we go. Oh, it does look like good potting mix, so. Okay, so I have this filled with my potting mix now. It does look really, really good. Your roses are really big feeders. So you're going to have to keep an eye on this throughout the season. They are going to need some fertilizer. I highly recommend the Espoma Rose Tone. That works really well a few times, I would say. And with roses, you always want to plant them deep. Oh, and I think I got too much soil in here. Have to fix this. Okay, always keep a couple extra pots nearby, and because I want to plant this deep, it's better to take a little bit of soil out now, add it in later, so that I can get the rose planted deep enough. I want a nice happy rose so I can see all those beautiful flowers. And if you take a look, there are so many buds on this plant already. Gertrude Jekyll is very thorny, so you have to be careful when you're planting a rose. But it is totally worth it when you see those beautiful blossoms later. And another good thing about Gertrude Jekyll, in case I haven't told you how much I love it already, is that it is one of the first roses to bloom. So if you're looking for, that early summer blossoming, that, this time of year, I'm looking for everything. Okay, what's gonna come first? Your Gertrude Jekyll is gonna be one of your first roses, which is always so exciting. So here it is, it's beautiful anyway, but then you're also going to get to enjoy it early. I wouldn't say, I think it is listed as a rebloomer, but just like with all rebloomers, that first flush is really the most beautiful. Okay, I gotta fill more soil in here. Oh, this looks great though, and the roots look fabulous. This is going to be so gorgeous. I would love to see some pictures of your favorite roses too, especially the pink ones, of course, as I consider getting some more. You saw that I got a boscabelle last year, and I'll be showing that to you in a bit. It is looking really good. Okay, here we go. Oh yes, now we're getting it down deep enough. Unlike so many things that you want to plant really high, this one we want to keep happy by planting it deep enough. Okay. Oh, that looks so good already. I'm going to very carefully take the tag off because there's a lot of thorns. Okay. Oh. Now, this particular rose, you do need to keep an eye out for black spot. So I'm going to be spraying with neem oil. That's what I typically do, but you want to make sure you're doing that early on in the season because you will have some trouble if you don't do that. Oh, that's looking good. Clean up the edge a little bit. Okay. And I'll move these out. Oh, that just makes me happy walking by it to see it all planted here. So it doesn't look like much at the moment, but I will be showing you these flowers as soon as they start to bloom, I am sure. Now, David Austin hybridized a lot of different roses. This particular one, Gertrude Jekyll, he introduced in 1986, so it hasn't been around that long, but it just has really caught on in popularity. His roses are known for looking like old-time roses, that full romantic rose type. They're known for having a fragrance. A lot of the newer introductions to roses, you're going to find out that although they may be hardier, they might be missing that beautiful rose fragrance. So I am so happy to have this one now in my garden, and I hope that you get a chance to see some David Austin roses this summer, whether they're in your own garden or someone else's. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.